Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody had a good holiday. Me, myself, I had a pretty chill holiday. With everything considering, I am originally from California, so I didn't be able to make it home. Other than that, that's only the little downfall part of this whole 2020 experience. Speaking of 2020, I hope everybody is ready for 2021 as much as I am. Got a lot of things planned out, and I hope the same is for you. I hope these couple of days aren't days where you're just trying to draw up what you wish to be or how you wish to make the next year go about. I hope you have a dream for next year and goals to attain to to get to that dream. The thing is about being a dreamer is that you could get mixed in the sauce, right? Because if you don't set uh, goals that has to be hit, you're probably not going to reach that dream. And so, it's important that you set those goals as well as those dreams. And those goals have to have an attainable plan, a plan of action. And and a lot of times those plans need to be functionally resultful, as in it should, whenever you fulfill that plan, it should be able to create some type of positiveness for your brain so you can keep going about your yearly plans to attain your dream. We can go and dive into that later. Today, I'll be doing both sides again. I probably should have done this a long time ago, but I've been lazy, and this weather's kind of getting to me, and it's just what it is. So today we'll be talking about gluttony, or I'll be talking to you about gluttony. But gluttony, again, this is open ended conversation. I hope whoever watches this video gets food for thought. It's not really necessarily a godforsaken truth on what I'm speaking on. What I'm speaking on is what I feel like God has put into me, and so I'm gonna put it into the universe. And right now, the YouTube is a great tool to be used so you can get your message out there, whatever God has placed on your heart. So, gluttony. What is gluttony? You see, the thing is, I think gluttony gets people confused with greed. Greed is wanting more than what you've possibly, not necessarily that you can attain, but greed is taken away from you. As much as you try to be greedy, you take as much from yourself by being greedy. Gluttony is not necessarily the opposite, but it's on the same spectrum. But gluttony is more so not being able to see the bottom or see the cap. It's kind of like trying to get so much and thinking that you having so much is going to fulfill you. I wrote it down. To have gluttony is to take without a sure boundary, or if even that, to mistake attainment with fulfillment, right? So what does that mean? I was watching a YouTube video, and I forgot who it was, but they said something that was kind of mind-boggling. He said something about how, whenever you see all these abductees come into the NFL Hall of Fame or NBA Hall of Fame, you see that a lot of times they apologize to their family about what they had to go through so daddy or mommy can attain that goal. And that kind of goes to gluttony, right? You're selfishly taking and believing what you're taking is going to bring you fulfillment. Uh, there's a lot of people. We could go off of athlete rise. There's a lot of great athletes who had a key to something that a lot of even the greatest people never touched. Everybody has their niche that makes them um, propel, right? And it's funny because I went through this. I remember my last wrestling match in my career, and I've always been not always, but I've always tried to sit down and self reflect. And I remember it was my last match, and um, my mother and my father, nobody in my family has ever seen me wrestle. I I wrestled for about 10, 13 years, damn near, and none of them even seen the match. Um, uh, but it's to each his own for on that case. I'm one of those people. Uh, I'm a bullet. You point the gun, you shoot, and I'm that bullet. I don't need anybody else to help me go take care of what I need to take care of. I'm gonna go get it done. And that's my mindset when I was a wrestler. But that's to that is another subject, right? But what I will say now as I digressed, right? So it was my last match. I lost. I had to call my father, tell my mother, yo, like, don't buy the ticket because they were getting ready to come and watch me do my thing, trying to make it to nationals. And that was rough. I had to sit down. I cried and I cried. Like, I sat in the shower and I cried and I cried. I was just like, man, like, this is where my career ended. I poured everything into it. I forsaken drinking, drugs, women. I forsaken I gave up a lot of things so I can try to attain that goal. And it was heartbreakingly crushing. And to be honest, what I really wanted was the accolade of being able to say, yo, I'm a national champ. And then I sat down and I talked to my coach, and he said something that rings to the idea of gluttony. And he said, your career is not reflected upon your attainment of accolations. Um, in college, and this goes for anybody who wrestles, but it's a known fact that in college wrestling, it's only about, I think, 10, 15, no more than 15% of the people that come in as wrestlers leave as wrestlers. And not only that, most of them probably won't even start or debut or even have a winning record. I was lucky enough to even go 750, you know, um, and that was pretty good. Uh, but this was a man that still speaks volume into my life right now on what he has to say. Um, this man, he done everything that you can. He's been a national champion. He's been a part of a national championship team and everything like that. And it hits to today to hear those words that attainment does not bring definition into your life. There are many people who will um, accomplish a lot, but don't mean that they're happy with their life. It doesn't mean that they breathe easier with their life. You hear it all the time from rappers and music artists, more money, more problems. And that's the idea of gluttony. What gluttony does is that it flips your morality on what you need to be a human being, to enjoy nature, to enjoy love, instead of you becoming a person of morality, you become a person of not necessarily immorality, but you become a person of attainment, and you become a person of objectivity. Objects fulfill you, or um, objects make you high for a second, but it doesn't bring you the fulfillment that you need. And it's not just um, objects. It's career. If you want to be the CEO or something like that, some people go through ups and downs. Or perfect example, politicians. Um, Politicians make so many promises to so many people that they can never keep up with. And so, that you're giving up a part of your integrity when you're doing stuff such as that. And that comes from gluttony and trying to attain more than what you really need. Not necessarily what you really need, but trying to attain more from the outside world rather than the inside world. That's one. Materialistic, buying things, trying to keep things that you not don't necessarily need, or it doesn't even bring value into your life. I read a book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he said something that really rings out. When you buy stuff, you should look at it as an investment, and you shouldn't be buying things that you're going to have to add to rental space, things that you're going to have to pay off, or things that's going to take away from what you can invest in. To buy a new car, it sounds great and everything, like, or always keeping up with the 2020 whatever cars that are going to come out is going to sound great and it's going to look great. But in the end, is that really where you really want to focus on? Is it really that you so far focus on trying to keep up with the Joneses on objectivity that you're missing out on the time that you could be spending with people? You're missing out on the times you could be spending in nature. You're missing out on times that you could be spending out in the world and experiencing things that the world has to offer for you. uh, Gluttony puts you in a bubble. It shelters you away from the rest of the world, because when you're more so worried about what you have than appreciating what you do have, then, or let me rephrase that, when you're worried about what you don't have and not appreciating what you do have, it leads to a mindset of always trying to not accomplish but gain more than, being happy with the person that you are, and not only that, with the things that you got. I don't have much, but everything I have I've worked for, and I had to learn, especially this year, that I need to give thanks to that. Now, at the beginning of the year, if I would have been able to show you my little apartment, there was a lot of clutter. There's a lot of things that I couldn't let go of because, in the time that I spent to get that, even my medals and trophies and everything like that, all my accolations, um, there was blood, sweat, and tears poured into that. So, I think it was this month, probably not even a week ago, but I was able to finally get rid of my medals, and I was able to finally get rid of all my trophies, state jackets, and everything like that. Got rid of it all. And why is that? Well, it's part of my past, and what I attained objectively from winning a tournament or two or placing at this tournament or two. In truth, those battles that I went through to get that means more to me than that medal. That medal just represented earthly value. It didn't represent my soulful, my food for my soul. It didn't bring fulfillment. When things get rough, I can always think about that time that, I had my shoulder dislocated and I battled through it. Or, I can always think about the times that, I stepped out on the mat, or not even stepping out on the mat, but I can think about those times where I graduated and, you know, people doubted me in the past. I don't need an object to bring that emotions out of me, because I know I can accomplish that. And that's the thing when it comes to gluttony. You should not feel like if you have something, then you have accomplished something. that is not that's not what it should what you should really be trying to attain. Um, your attainment needs to be rooted in your purpose. Your purpose is your attainment. And that is how you beat gluttony. You discover what your purpose is set on this earth is. I come from a broken family, not as I come from a broken family. Um, and one day I sat down and finally talked to my mother about this, and I asked her, what does she think my purpose was? And she told me flat out, as far as in her life, I was the one who taught her how to love. And ever since then, that's been kind of my focus. I I can only I can only be me, and who I've always been is a person of high passion. When you sit down and talk to me, I'm gonna give it to you straight. I'm gonna give you all the honest opinions that I can give you. I'm gonna give you my honest attention, and that is who I am. That is my purpose, and because of that purpose, I have learned to start stripping myself away from these earthly matters. Now, does that mean I have no wants? No, that does not take away from me wanting to attain more solace into my life. I think everybody has a right to be the greater them. I've said that in the past, right? The greater them. But you got to be clear on who the greater you is. The greater me is somebody that, is going to build homes for the homeless. He's going to restructure my family. He's going to bring about strength to those who felt like they're not strong. The greater me will always give love before he tries to bring anger and hatred into any situation. Will that mean I'll always be able to do that? No, but it's something I can always work towards. That is my purpose. And me having that drives me more than me trying to get up and go get my Mustang, because that's always been my dream car, and next year I'll have it. But the reason why I'm going to have that Mustang is because I'm going to apply myself, and it's not going to bring a definite change in my life, but it will definitely bring solace into what I speak into the universe. And it will definitely not trick my brain, but make my brain understand that there's still more to be had. Because you always got to remember, your brain is meant for one thing and one thing only. Your brain is meant for survival. Your soul is the one that wishes to have more. So that's why you have to guard your soul, because your brain isn't going to work to guard your soul. Your brain is going to work to guard your body, your mind, and that's important. So again, when it comes to gluttony, you need to know where not to live on this earthly plane. Gluttony, it's hard to factor in because there's not too many people out there that can give up on what they had in the past as far as materialistic, because gluttony is very materialistic. Greed is another thing. Greed is not necessarily about trying to take everything from everybody or not trying to give to everybody. Greed, like I said, it shows itself in an uglier way, and that is, you might not be trying to give your best to an individual that you might even have a relationship with. Or greed will make you not want to give your best to your own self. It's uglier. It's a little bit uglier than gluttony, but they all play together. They all work together, and that's something that you always got to recognize. Gluttony is different. It's like when you go to a buffet and you eat too much, you know. See, and that's why I say when it comes to gluttony, people get lost in the sauce. You go and you eat, right? And you eat and you eat and you eat and you get to a point where you feel full, but you're like, I still got all of this on my plate, so I gotta eat it. Or not even that. There's still so much things I want to taste, so I gotta go get it. Um, that's not always the wisest choice. Sometimes you just need to take your time, stop eating, give your body some time to adjust, and then go get it. And that's the same thing when it comes to life. I know I said it was mostly materialistic, but like I said, going back to the analogy about the NFL and NBA, you know, time you can never make up. And it's hard to it's crazy to think that most of our childhood heroes, as far as athletes, gave up so much just to entertain me. you know they gave up time with their family, time with their wives. They given up their health. They given up so much just to try to attain and get into this hall of fame where somebody can always come to their name. Now, is it something bad? No, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying what they attained was a bad thing. But what I am trying to say is sometimes you got to be able to step back, sniff the air. Sometimes you got to be able to go and take your wife out to a dinner or two. You know, sometimes attaining more does not mean you've gained more in your life. And it doesn't even mean that you've brought more solace to your life. To attain more does not mean you're going to be buried with more. Um, Something that my one of my coaches once told me was, if you really want to measure yourself someday, and if God permits, you know, when you pass on, hopefully you'll have 3 friends that can stand up and speak for you at your funeral. If you have 4, you're a great person. If you have 5, you're a legendary person. And if you have more than 5, then you left an imprint on the world. And so, what are you going to do? And I'm not saying like anybody, I'm talking about people who are close to you. How many of those people close to you who aren't family members are going to stand up and speak on the character that you were and the person that you were? And that's what it is. When it comes to gluttony, do not find solitude in what you have. Yeah, you have a 2020. For me, for example, when I have my 2020 Mustang or 2021 Mustang, yeah, it's gonna be great. I'm gonna feel great. The women are really gonna be looking at me, and it's gonna be a drop top, and and everything like that. But I can have that, but if I don't have it to share it with somebody, why does it matter? And if even that, at some point, that car is gonna break down, and I'm gonna have to get a new one. So for me to find that object brought me joy and fulfillment in my life is a falsehood. And in truth, I'm mostly trying to protect myself from not seeing that I need to find more spiritual value within myself rather than the earthly values. And that is it for gluttony, right? Remember, gluttony is to take without having a sure boundary. You know, sure, the sky is the limit, and you can have everything in your life, but it's having everything gonna bring fulfillment for you. You are a specific person. You're a specific spiritual person. You're a specific soul. That does not mean that your soul deserves everything in this world. You know, um, this world has STDs. Does that mean you need to go through every STD? No. Does that mean you have to go to jail or prison, or or do you want to be more specific and you only want all the good things in the world, but not everything that's good is actually sweet, you know? Um, and always remember to mistake attaining with fulfillment. Um, another label next to your name does not mean that you're going to be a different person, or even that you're going to be a better person. The hardest thing for everybody to do, especially now in 2020 with everything being shut down, is to be able to sit in that mirror and see your reflection and and accept it and be willing to change it if you feel like you need to change it. And that's the hard thing. And it's getting even harder with this year and everything, with everything shut down. So what are you going to do? Are you going to allow gluttony to isolate you because you're trying to go get it? Or are you going to live your purpose, go out and do what you can with what you have and appreciate what you have? And that's it on this video. Again, this video is just as much as for me as it is for you. And I send this video with love. Someday I will come back and watch these videos a year from now. Every last one of them. I'll probably sit down and watch every last one. To be truthful, whenever I put this up, I never even watch them again. So yeah, I just want to keep it genuine when I do sit down and watch them again. But like I said, this is open-ended, open-minded, open-ended conversation, and I have nothing but love for y'all. And I am thankful that you allow me to be in your life and take whatever little bit of time that I have taken from you. And I hope that whatever I said, maybe it rings some truth. I know I ramble on and I speak, and but whatever comments you can leave will be very much appreciated. And thank you. And I hope you have a nice New Year's.